your smile. Now the sunshine brings the light. Fill me out with a flame. I will let you in this game. Take me out when I'm down. 'Cause with you I'm safe and sound. 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 Safe and
Welcome, everybody, to episode 22 of our Myriacast podcast. With me, as always, is Spoon. And we have a guest today. It's been a while, actually. I think it's been a month since we had a guest last, because I remember our last guest was Zem. So today we have a guest. His name is actually Tricourage, but I put Trihead because it's a little bit of an inside joke. Spoon, why don't we introductions in order for you, and then we'll get to our guest intro.
Sure. I mean, this is the Myriacast. We do this every week, talking about gaming stuff. I'm SPT Spoon. I'm used to be a Kingdom Hearts 2 speedrunner. Don't really do that anymore, because I'm in med school and I'm busy. But I stream occasionally, KH2 randomizers, this JRPGs and whatnot. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
that's about it for me.
Okay, go ahead and intro yourself, Tricourage. Also, for those of you that don't know, Try's a bit famous on YouTube. He's very low-key about it. He's got a video with like over 40K views or something. It's crazy, actually. It's like, or is it over 20? I can't remember.
Hold on, I can check. But hi, I'm Tricourage. I'm a washed-up speedrunner. Now I'm just an angry fat man who plays video games badly.
Okay.
I guess the only other thing about me is I like Zelda games, which will be relevant later when we talk about good Zelda games.
Okay. So, yeah, do you got the video numbers on that one?
Hold on, I gotta pull up my channel.
Okay, he's finding
I
it.
thought it was even more than that.
Okay, well, while you're finding it, the
It's just 27,000.
27,000. Okay, still pretty high. So we are just to get another short intro for the podcast in particular. Please follow our socials on Twitter, Twitch. Obviously, follow the channel if you'd be so kind. If not, I guess that's okay. But I'll be a little bit sad. And all the tweets come from myself, and Spoon retweets and likes all those tweets for all the Myriacast stuff. So please follow mine as well, and Spoon's, Automaton89 and SPT Spoon. It's not, I didn't put SPT Spoon on the nameplate, but it's just SPT and then the rest of that name there's Spoon. So, okay, that's going to be the intro for today. The other thing I wanted to highlight is we're going to do another session this Thursday. Spoon and I still haven't decided who's streaming this session, but keep an eye out.
You are. I will not be there. We talked about this.
So okay, you're busy with I forgot about this. You told me you have your exam.
My final exam is on Friday, so I'm not there. I'm not there for plays on Friday. On Thursdays.
You assume my brain works well.
If you want to do it a different day, if you want to do it like Friday, Saturday, if you want to do it over the weekend, I'm down for that. But I can't do it Thursday. That's
no. We'll do it Thursday. I'll do it in particular, and we'll probably do what we did last week. So last week we played a mobile game, Tales of Cristoria. We'll probably do that again if I can't find something else to play. So we'll do that this week at around 4:30 Pacific time, 7:30 Eastern. So okay, that's all for that. Let's just jump right into some game news. So we have a couple things. I actually took something off, by the way, for Spoon and Tricourage's sake, because I sent them all these before, and I added something in its place. So I'm going to go ahead and transition to my other screen, where you can be amazed at my production value here. Bam, look at that. That's awesome. So, he's laughing. Are you kidding me? I'm impressed by this stuff. I'm impressed by this stuff.
He put this together in 5 minutes.
Look at that.
So.
I'm not laughing at this. I read something else in the doc.
Okay. So, I feel like more people, nobody's ever seen this before in their lives. Like, I invented this. So, this is recent. This actually came today from my Twitter, and I guess it was posted today in general. So there's a game coming out. I'm actually going to put the video up for it. It's called Marvel's Avengers. I believe this is a Square Enix game, actually.
It's published by Square Enix. They're not the developer.
They're not developers.
They're publishing it.
My understanding is it's an action RPG. I think it's like an action RPG beat 'em up style.
It actually looked kind of. It looks really Destiny-esque to me, actually.
And there's no audio on purpose. For those wondering, where's the audio? There's no audio on purpose. I'm sure if I played this audio, I would never be able to post this video anywhere. So this game is coming out relatively soon. I don't know the exact release date. somebody will have to.
I think it's in September.
Okay.
I don't remember the exact release date
Perfect.
either, but I think it's in September.
Okay, so this game, recent news came out that one of the characters, well, one of the most popular characters, Spider-Man, is actually exclusive to PlayStation. And this is something, so it'll be an exclusive DLC for PlayStation players, which is already weird considering Spider-Man's like a really popular Avengers character and just generally a popular Marvel character. It's weird that he's not just in the game. They're forcing an exclusive DLC. It's already odd for me. I'm not going to go through the whole article. I'll just keep this title up. Spoon, thoughts? And Try, feel free to add thoughts as well.
I mean, I haven't seen, I guess, one of these in a while, but this was commonplace for quite a long time where, you know, Xbox would have their exclusive, PlayStation would have their exclusive, and maybe, you know, whatever it would be. When a third-party game came out, you know, each console would get their exclusive thing, and you just have to pick.
Right.
And it's stupid, and it's very consumer unfriendly, I suppose, but it is what it is. Buy it on what you want. If you care about Spider-Man that much, buy it on PlayStation. If you don't, then whatever.
Too bad. Try, any
Yeah.
thoughts? Any thoughts here, Try?
I wasn't surprised by this at all because Sony owns Spider-Man, so it's like a miracle Spider-Man even got in this game. If it's getting released on anything but PlayStation, so it makes sense that Sony's saying, "Okay, we can put it in the game, but it's only going in the game if it's going on our console. We don't want Xbox to have Spider-Man on their console."
Sure, yeah, I forgot that too. Sony actually just owns Spider-Man.
Yeah, like Spider-Man almost
games.
got like written out of the Avengers because like there was this like time period where they couldn't reach a deal, and
Right.
Sony was saying they were gonna let I guess Disney now make another Spider-Man movie, and then they backed off. So
Yeah.
it's not surprising. I was more happy that they said that they're gonna put Hawkeye in this game. I'm never gonna play the game, but I like Hawkeye.
Why aren't you going to play the game?
Yeah, Try, why don't you play the game?
I haven't seen any gameplay, and it didn't look like a game that was gonna have great gameplay. I feel like this game is just gonna be like, oh, there's superheroes, please buy it. But maybe it'll be a good game. I don't know. I'm skeptical.
Yeah. For
Yeah,
me,
I'm skeptical too, to be honest. But because I mean, the gameplay I've seen of it looks all right, but it doesn't look exceptional. That's for sure. I don't know.
Okay.
But it is being developed by I think Crystal Dynamics, who's the team that made or started at least the new Tomb Raider games.
Okay. I mean, I won't say anything about the most recent Tomb Raider. I never played it.
Yeah, no, that one sucked.
Okay.
That one sucked. The first two were good though.
Yeah, the first two were great. I enjoyed them a lot. But like for me in particular, yeah, I know they own Spider-Man. I forgot that they owned it, but yeah, now that it makes sense that they're doing this, but I will say it's frustrating as a player because I know Spider-Man is such a popular character in this universe, so it's a little bit disappointing for players who don't have, we'll just say, just can't have access to a PlayStation, because I don't know if this is coming out. Is it coming out for PC? It might be coming out for PC too.
I'm pretty sure.
So for people who don't buy consoles and just play PC, it's a little bit disappointing. But I mean, this isn't exactly super uncommon, I want to say. It's just a little, yeah, I just figured add it in there because it was all over my Twitter. Okay, next thing that I have on here was I'm trying to think if I should go right into memery. We're going to go into memery. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit in my memery. Star Citizen news. I don't play this game. I barely know anything about it. All I know is that this game has way too much money in it. This has been, to my understanding, in development for like 8 years, and it has already been kind of split up into two different games, I guess is the way to put it. There's like the MMO, and then there's like a single player version. I think Squadron 42 is the single player. Am I correct on that? Okay. So recently, Star Citizen hadn't really been putting forward a lot of updates to the community, so they decided to give their update for a roadmap. Their original roadmap, and you're going to have to like help me out here. Their original roadmap sort of fell apart, I think is a simple way to put it.
Yeah, basically they weren't keeping up with the roadmap. And so
Okay.
they said, oh, this roadmap isn't reflective of our progress anymore, so we're going to scrap it. But instead of giving the players a roadmap, they promised that they would just give them kind of more regular updates.
Right.
So people would know that something's happening with the game. But apparently the updates weren't regular enough or substantial enough, so fans got mad that they weren't getting enough information. And then the developer was like, oh, okay, we understand. We'll bring a roadmap back, but we don't have one ready yet. But what we'll give you is a roadmap to a new roadmap.
Right. So this is what kind of caught my attention in particular. They're talking about this new roadmap, and this is something we hinted at in March, but because it's still very much in development, keep in mind, the roadmap is in development. We can't share as much about it as I would like. The community person is saying this, of course. Believe me when I say I'm personally very eager to release it to you. Okay. Apparently this was, again, hinted in March, still in development. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. Our goal with this new roadmap is to give you better visibility into what teams are working on, share the progress of those blah, 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 and go so far as to indicate the size of project for blah, 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 blah. Again, I'm just kind of skipping forward. Okay. While it's not currently quite ready, the roadmap, it's currently top priority on the web team's current projects. In the immediate future, we plan to deliver the follow communications. Okay? Give an explanation of the goals of our new roadmap and what to expect from it. Show a rough mock-up of the proposed new roadmap, which was hinted in March and is in development. I want to stress this. It's in development, folks. Share a work-in-progress version of the roadmap for at least one of our core teams. Only at least one, by the way. It could just be one. And that's fulfilled number 3. And then finally transition to this new roadmap. And I'll be honest, splendid work by Star Citizen to outline their roadmap. I think this is one of the best roadmaps for a roadmap I've ever seen, in my opinion. I've never seen a roadmap for the roadmap quite like this roadmap. So if you're interested in understanding how to make a roadmap for a roadmap, this is the roadmap on how to do that. So well done, Star Citizen. Lots of upvotes for God knows what reason. I don't know who loved this and gave hard eyes. If you did, maybe go see a doctor. I like
the 122 poop emojis on that one.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. And people obviously were upset. I think there was a comment that was just that. It was just like, so we got a roadmap for a roadmap. I did see that somewhere. I'm not going to find it this minute. But this was just like, I don't even know what to say.
I'll tell you what to say. I have one comment for this, and it's cue the Benny Hill music. This is a freaking clown fiesta.
This is a clown fiesta. I feel bad for. I just want to say I feel bad for the community person because.
Yeah, it's not his fault.
It's not his fault at all.
He's the one that has to release the update.
I'm sure he went home, maybe talked to his significant other, and said, "I got a problem here. I got to give a roadmap for a roadmap," and just like contemplated the best way to word this. So it's not great. There's all this fluff, and it's just.
I've got a suggestion for Star Citizen, not the devs. The devs are doing what they're doing. They're a joke. It's fine. Whatever. Stop giving money to this project. It's just absurd. This game has been in development for, what'd you say, 8 years or something? 8 years.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen it being played or some sort of beta or whatever that's out. I don't know what it is or if it's any good, but I feel like they just keep making promises and they keep pushing things back. And also, I'm just sensing a trend with like roadmaps in general.
Mm-hmm.
What's the point of a roadmap if no one is ever going to adhere to it?
Good
it's
question.
So stupid.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anthem had a roadmap, and that got flushed down the toilet real quick.
Oh my goodness.
I feel like anytime one of these big companies release a roadmap, like 2 months down the line, they're like, "Well, we couldn't. Yep, that's gone.
Oh, well.
That's out the window. We'll come up with a new roadmap when we pull our heads out of our asses.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ooh.
Sorry.
No. Try any additional thoughts on your end from this roadmap for the roadmap.
I just want I saw this number, so I just want to throw this out so people understand how much money has been wasted on this game.
Yeah, go ahead.
This game has raised at least 360 million at this point, from what people know. Marvel's Avengers in-game cost 363 million to make. This game is costing as much to make as Marvel's in-game movie, and it's not done yet. The only thing out right now is an alpha for the MMO version, which is like super small compared to what they promised. The single player is still nowhere to be found. It was supposed to be out this year by the old mode map that got trashed. Yeah, this game's never coming out. It just isn't.
I can't see, or maybe it's going to take a long time. I don't know what. Yeah. I think somebody had mentioned it, that it's like the biggest problem is they keep adding stuff to the game and not actually implementing any of it to the consumers. It's just like, okay, we keep adding stuff, but we have to, like, when we keep adding stuff, we're just delaying things. And
it's like, that's called an expansion. Why don't you finish what you initially set out to do, and then you can add stuff?
Yeah, it's just like add stuff after the fact. I don't get that, but okay. Anyway, let's get this out of our minds here. The next thing is I'm gonna go backwards from here. This was actually something we've been talking about for a couple weeks now. This has been out for quite some time. You'll see it's dated as June 26. I only brought this back just because, again, we're gonna sort of. I want to just go through this again, and a couple of executives were placed on leave from Ubisoft, and this was something that sort of, again, caught my eye. I just, like, don't... apparently, like, we had this whole, like, Ubisoft Forward event, and we were kind of, like... I was a little bit, supportive of them, and now I keep seeing all this stuff keep coming out here. So, 2 high-ranking employees under scrutiny, vice presidents... 3 claims of misconduct, just like multiple claims of misconduct, particularly with us. I think sexual harassment will be what it was under, I believe. And it's just like, it just keeps coming forward. And I just, again, this has been out for a while, but like I keep hearing more about it even within recent time. So, yep, just wanted to keep talking about this because Ubisoft's, I think, corporate environment is really toxic, and we should continue to make sure that people know how toxic it is until they fix it. So, that's my thing on that.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Ubisoft is the one being exposed right now, but I wouldn't be surprised if many corporations in and out of the video game industry have this kind of toxic environment.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
I don't know for sure. That is pure speculation, but there are many people in the world who abuse their power, and standing. So
yeah, and just have really bad takes in particular with. We'll be talking about in our debate section, but our takes are, in my opinion, they're harmless. These people's takes are actually just sexist, and these are quite harmful by comparison. So I want to make sure that, like, when these things happen, you just gotta root it out as best and fast as possible. Similar situation with Riot. Like, Riot had some of that happen. I don't remember how long ago it was, like a year ago, and do your best to root out all that garbage. So, anything to add, Try? Or otherwise, I'm gonna go to Halo.
Yeah, I'll just say one thing. I heard a rumor about this was one of the executives that's basically got fired, and everyone's coming under like fire.
Mm-hmm.
Held business meetings at strip clubs.
Great.
Not a good idea.
Yeah,
do
not good.
Recommend.
Don't do that. Please don't.
Yeah, don't do that.
Please don't. That's such a bad idea for way too many reasons. Okay, moving on to Halo finally. We talked about Halo last week in particular, and Halo answered questions actually regarding the graphics issues. So I'm just going to jump right to that section. Questions about graphics and visuals. First, we want to acknowledge that, yes, we've heard feedback coming from parts of the community regarding the visuals in the Halo Infinite campaign demo. For those of you that don't remember that, just type in Craig the Brute in your Google search bar, and you will find immediately what we're talking about. Because now Xbox has a new mascot, and it's not Master Chief, it's Craig the Brute. And I hope it sticks, because it's wonderful.
I hadn't heard the name.
It's amazing. It's just Craig, and it's awesome.
Craig the Brute.
While we see and hear far more positive than negative, we do want to share a bit more context. Okay. Art style and visual fidelity is what they're talking about here. Based on their learnings from most recent titles, including Halo Wars 2, we decided to shift back towards the legacy aesthetics that defined the original trilogy, which I like. With Halo Infinite, we've returned to a more classic art style. This translates to a more vibrant palette, cleaner models, and objects with less noise, though it doesn't mean less detail. And they also, they did also talk about somewhere in here that this build was not necessarily the most recent one. The build used to run the campaign demo was work in progress from several weeks ago from the time they showed it, with a variety of graphical elements and game systems still being finished and polished. I'm not 100% sure how much polish we'll get after the fact for today. There's only like, I think 3 to 4 months until this releases. I don't remember the exact timeline from when they
still don't have a release date. It's a launch title.
Okay.
It's a launch title for the new console, but we don't know the release date of the new console either.
Right.
So
sometime
this fall.
Who knows?
I would guess I would guess November. That would be my guess, but I don't know.
Yeah. And so they're just acknowledging that people were disappointed. There was a group of people that was disappointed with the graphics. I like this kind of thing. I think these are great. I like when the teams, the development team, in this case, puts out this sort of acknowledgement and recognizes potential faults, but also says, okay, well, let's also talk about where we were coming from. Generally, this is far better than doing, for example, a roadmap of a roadmap. This is the kind of stuff that I like to see in particular. So
or a press release, Fallout 76. We're sorry you didn't get what you wanted.
Oh yeah, that was bad.
This is what it is, so screw you. Thanks, Bethesda.
Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to. Wasn't too other than that. Like, you could obviously go through this article yourself. It's just Halo waypoints. Infinite Inquiries is the article title, I believe. So there's also one other thing I'm going to add here before I sort of turn it over to you guys for comments. Apparently, Halo's multiplayer is going to be, and let me zoom in a bit, free to play, which I'm a bit surprised that this was announced. So normally with Halo in particular, you buy the game, it's got campaign and multiplayer. That's, I guess, still obviously common, but in this case, they've already announced via Twitter that this multiplayer will no longer have that setup. I don't know how it's going to work exactly, but my sense is there'll be like a campaign and maybe like some kind of like battle pass system involved.
Yeah, I think they confirmed it. Halo will have a battle pass.
Yeah, which again, it's fine, but the being free to play, I thought that was an interesting announcement. Spoon and I's first thought was like, okay, how many microtransactions are going to be crammed in this? If it's a battle pass system, I'm perfectly fine with that. So anyway, okay, both those things. Spoon, comments?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it last week, and I didn't think that the graphics looked that bad. I didn't articulate it very well last week. I kept saying cartoony, but you can see that they kind of reverted back to the older, less realistic style of the, I guess the first 3 games, I would guess. And I like that. I think Chief looks good. I know Craig the Brute didn't look particularly good, and some of the textures didn't look great. Yeah.
He's just a nice guy. Like, he should be the new mascot. Keep going.
But I didn't overall think it looked bad. It didn't look astounding. It didn't, as we talked about last week, it didn't blow me away, but it looked good. It looked like Halo. As far as the multiplayer being free to play goes, I was pretty surprised by it. I wonder if it will be free to play on both Xbox and PC, or if it will like only be free to play on Xbox, so you have to have an Xbox to play it, or I'm not sure exactly how it's going to work, or yeah, what they're going to do with the microtransactions in terms of the cosmetics, or battle pass, I guess is going to be a thing. Yeah. So we'll see. It's a surprise to me. It's an interesting decision, but I don't know.
I don't think it's necessarily bad either. I think
No,
we'll see
it's
how it
not
goes.
bad.
Okay,
Depends.
Try your thoughts added onto this.
I think it going free to play for multiplayer is good. I don't think Halo would have been. I don't think the multiplayer would have taken off if it was only behind paid content, because there's just too many free to play shooters now. It's the market standard. It makes sense that Halo's moving towards that. The graphics, I'm glad they said something, because I disagree. I thought the graphics looked like absolute trash. Especially the like pilot guy in that cutscene. Every time I watch that, I think they pulled somebody out of Toy Story and put it in the Halo cutscene. He looks like he's from Toy Story, 100%.
Put Woody in the game. Put Woody in the game.
They might as well have. I don't think that's going to change. I think that's just they want to go back to Halo 1 art style. That's cool. I'm not a Halo fan. I don't care. I'm sure Halo fans are happy about it. It can definitely work. If they do improve the textures and things, it can still come out and be a visually good game without being super realistic. It is just kind of a shame that the flagship game on Xbox isn't going to be anywhere near as visually impressive as what PlayStation's going to have. But it's going to be a lot cheaper because Game Pass. So
yeah,
Xbox is just building this gaming on a budget system, and hopefully it works.
Yeah, and also the backwards compatibility, whereas PlayStation is going all in on PS5 exclusives. They're like, if you want to play this particular game, it's going to be only on PS5. And you have to buy PS5. No PC, no PS5 or bust.
Yep.
And Microsoft. And so I think part of it is with backwards compatibility, they kind of have to make some trade-offs for making it compatible on Xbox One instead of full like Series X. So
yeah.
I think there's one thing that, again, people obviously point to the character and Craig. Again, I'm pushing for Craig to be the new mascot. Really hope we get our wishes there.
Did you see the meme on Twitter where when Sony announced that they were going to have Spider-Man as their exclusive in Marvel's Avengers?
Yeah.
Someone said that Microsoft was going to have Craig the Bruce
They should.
Thanos.
And they should. And if it happens, I'm in. I'm all in. I tell you what, Microsoft needs to go all in on this Craig meme. They should just have, like, don't go too far into it, obviously, but, like, sneak it in somewhere. Master Chief's design was by far the highlight of the whole thing. They just, like, I said it before, the entire art team, like, all the design team, they're like, okay, look, if you're gonna have bad models over here, Chief better look real good. And he looked really good. That was the one thing that I noticed. They like put every ounce of their energy into that. So again, I think like some part of me knows that the graphics probably aren't as good as they potentially should be, but maybe given a couple extra months there'll be some improvements. But that's we'll see. I'm hopeful, obviously, because I like Halo quite a bit, and I do want it to succeed. And I think that having multiplayer be free, with much like a lot of other games, multiplayers, particularly FPS games, having like a free option for multiplayer is like it's a really good thing. So anyway, okay. So that's our gaming news. Unless I took a few things off, but if there's anything else that we're thinking we want to just quickly touch on before I move back to our other overlay here. Any other things I missed?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention it. The Sony announced another State of Play, which is going to be on Thursday, I believe, at 1 in the afternoon for Pacific time, 4 Eastern. We will not be doing a Myriacast reacts or watches or whatever you want to call it.
Just a live stream of it.
The live stream of it, because both of us are going to be busy. Otto has work at that time, and I have an exam the following day, as I mentioned already, which is why I won't be doing plays on Thursday. So yeah, we won't be watching it. Maybe, I don't know. We'll talk about it, but maybe we want to do a separate, like, we'll stream it after the fact, maybe on Friday or something, and watch the video, like the VOD of it together or something. We could do that.
Yeah.
Or we could just watch it on our own time and then talk about it next week on Monday.
We'll definitely talk about it, though. We definitely will, and I'll be sure to
we'll
watch
definitely talk about it.
Sure.
They said that it's mostly going to be PS4 stuff, and they're either not going to talk about PS5 at all or very little. So, yeah, we'll see.
Okay. But
yeah, it exists. It's a thing. More gaming news, more announcements. I'm hoping to see, I don't know. I'm hoping to see like Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory, more on that. I'm hoping to see Tales of Arise, because we haven't seen anything on that game for over a year. I'm looking for my JRPG stuff, so
Spoon's rubbing his hands like, where's my JRPG stuff?
We'll see if Sony
can
cash in on that.
Cash in on Spoon's JRPG.
Yeah, cash in isn't the right word.
Just picture the meeting. Did we get the JRPGs in, sir? Spoon's been waiting at his computer. He's waiting. Okay, so now that we've sort of gotten through all the news stuff, I think Spoon's right on about the live stream. Either we'll do a VOD version of that where we'll watch the VOD of it and react to it, or, oh my God, that is the best thing I've ever seen in chat. Someone saved that watches and emote. Or possibly just, not doing a VOD restream of it, but we'll talk about it next week for sure. So again, keep an eye on our Twitters and stuff for that. You should follow them, and just to make sure that you're up to date on all of our different live streams that we're doing, because we are doing more stuff, including the plays thing. Oh my God, it's beautiful. I hope that catches fire. I hope that clock with Spoon's face catches fire. So we need that meme, the Rhine time meme, the one where it's the clock with Rhine. It's Rhine time. We need that with Spoon's face on there. Okay, so now we have this. The topic for today was more just a debate. Over the course of our past 21 episodes, Spoon and I have been right about everything we've said. We've never been wrong in our entire lives. And we've had a couple of viewers, one of whom is with us in particular, say we were wrong. And personally, I think that's blasphemy. And I'm quite surprised that anybody thinks that the things that I say are wrong. So today is a special day because Tricourage is going to sub in for the whole community that we have here, our lovely and wonderful fans and viewers and friends. He's going to be your voice, chat. So Tricourage is now the voice of the chat. In fact, I'm going to change something on production. Tricourage's new name is going to be Chat. Tri will be speaking for the chat today. So any opinions that we have had that you disagree with, and you think, you know what, I think these guys were wrong, please help sort of change our minds.
Yeah, because Tri's opinion, it's on you. Tri's opinion represents all of chat.
You are a messiah for chat. So first thing to debate, which one are we going to debate first, Spoon? What would you like to debate with chat first?
We do that,
hold on. Chat.
Before we do that, I want to bring up something else on your document.
Go ahead.
So I see on here that you guys noticed you got your first ever dislike.
Yeah, we sure did.
On the Pokemon video.
Pokemon episode.
I just want to be straightforward and say that was me. I disliked it because I was arguing with Otto that he had said something and he said he didn't say it. So I went back to the video to find where he said it, showed it to him, and then in my rage disliked the video.
Okay.
Because he made me go look it up.
And I'll be 100% honest. I told Spoon this before, and Spoon, you remember, I said, this is great. Someone disliked the video. This is great. I'm so happy someone went on there and said, you guys are wrong, and clicked the dislike button.
Someone cared enough to dislike our video.
I was like, yeah, good.
Of course,
hate
it was Tri.
Yeah, of course it was me.
Of course,
I'm sorry. I guess maybe I shouldn't have told you guys. You guys could have thought of someone.
No, that's okay. It's fine. It's fine. But
Yeah, Blaziken is a good Pokemon.
oh,
By the
okay.
way.
Let's start with Let's start with Pokemon. Actually, let's just start there because we had a couple things that people disagree with. I recall the Blaziken one, but I also know that we said we didn't like Black and White as an example. I recall that, and we also said as another one we didn't like the wild area as much, and we had some disagreements amongst our groups that said. And this is the exact voice, by the way. Anytime somebody disagrees with me, this is the exact voice I think of. Oh, you're wrong. You don't understand the wild area. So we were wrong about the wild area, I guess. And I also think that
personally
Black
attacked.
and White also, I guess, is a really highly rated gen. I think in the series. So that was a take that we had that people would disagree with. But go ahead, try. Why don't you pick and choose something in Pokemon that, and the chat can also definitely say we're wrong. I would love to hear opinions and have my mind change.
Yeah, I know of nothing else. Kuru in chat, Black and White. He always says it's his favorite. He's played like almost every gen. I don't remember Black and White very well. I know I did play it.
Okay.
So I can't talk too much on that.
Mm-hmm.
The wild areas, though, yes, you guys were completely wrong.
Okay.
The wild areas were the best part of Sword and Shield.
Okay.
I think in your opinions, you guys said that they were boring, and it was odd that they were put so early in the game when you can't do anything with them until late game.
That is what I recall. That is what I recall. Keep going.
Which is completely incorrect because I think most people, when they play the game, they catch most of their team that they use in the wild area. There are plenty of reasonably leveled Pokemon in that area. If I remember right, I think like there's certain like regions in the area, and like each region will have like a different level.
Yes.
As you go through the game, and then once you beat the game, it sets the entire wild level to like level 60,
that's
so that
correct.
It's ready for post game.
Yeah, that's correct.
So it was a great system. It was something new. Obviously, it has flaws. Frame rate is terrible. It lags really badly.
I want to interject here. It only lags badly if you turn the internet on. If the internet is off, it's okay, actually. So I want to make sure that is clear. If you turn on the internet and put the Wi-Fi on, it's horrible. But keep going.
Yeah, and it didn't have like, it had like internet connectivity, but like having the internet on, like running around, and they would like load in people. It didn't work right, I think, in the original game. I think I heard in the DLC, either in the one that came out or in the one that's still supposed to come out, they're supposed to make it more like an MMO where people run around properly.
Okay.
So it definitely had execution problems, but I thought it was super fun to have like this big like kind of MMO area in Pokemon and not have things bound by routes. It felt new and fresh. And that series is incredibly stale, so anything new and fresh is always welcome.
Okay. Spoon, I'll let you start with a rebuttal on any of those points.
I mean, I think this was mostly a me point, to be honest, because I didn't particularly like the wild area. I didn't find it interesting. I didn't catch many Pokemon in it. I mean, I think this is a matter of opinion, to be honest. I don't really have much to rebut. I just didn't enjoy it myself. The one thing that I wish that it had, that I really wish that it had that it didn't, was trainer battles. There were no trainer battles in the wild area, which made no sense whatsoever. I don't know if I don't know. I don't want to say there were none, but there were very few, if there were any.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I? So with the wild area, we already talked about the issues with lag, so I'll skip that. There are a couple things I did like. I thought the wild area was 10 times better in post game than in normal game, so I can't really say that it's a bad thing. I don't think the wild area in general was bad.
Yeah, I didn't really play post game, so I was talking about during the story.
Sure. For post game, it was 10 times better than the game. In the game, I will admit I hardly interacted with it. I just didn't see it anytime. Like at the very beginning, they had said that there was that catch level cap. So if a Pokemon was a certain number of levels ahead of you, you couldn't catch it. Was it? Or if it was a certain level, I can't remember what it was exactly.
It was a hard cap. So it would be like if you have 2 badges, you can't catch anything over level 25 or something. Those aren't the exact numbers, but that's the system.
Okay. So that system I didn't like that much. I saw it immediately, And I think that in particular, I think that actually turned me off from the wild area. I just ignored it for the most part. It just felt like a big expanse in between the next place to go, which is kind of how the routes are anyway, to be fair. But the routes have the advantage of having the trainer battles, so there's that. So you're interacting with catching Pokemon while also you're doing those battles. And with the wild area during the game, I will say it was not particularly exciting. Post game, however, it was the best part of post game. I thought it was a great addition, particularly for post game. I don't know any way to fix it, in my opinion. I think maybe, I mean, the trainers is a pretty solid idea, but the wild area was so open. How do you figure out which trainers should be level capped where? I guess like if you locked certain areas of that wild area during the story until they hit a progression point, and then the trainers would be opened up, that's an option. But in particular, I thought the wild area was executed actually quite poorly during the story and quite well after the story. But that's like, but I think, if we're actually, now that, I mean, Kuru just said it is kind of a nice safari zone type of deal. That is something that I didn't consider. It's almost like the safari zone. So that is definitely something I didn't think about. But I will say, I don't think the wild area was a horrible idea at all. I just don't think during the story, the execution was what I wanted it to be. But after the story, it shined. So that's my rebuttal on that.
I could definitely see like a better system than what they did probably would have been. You have like the wild area has a certain area, and then there's like locks where if you get enough badges, you can go to the next area, instead of having like the arbitrary level cap, because that's really like, it's kind of obvious that's really what the level cap was for, because when you got to the wild area, you could run and see like stupidly high level Pokemon, so they had to put a level cap to make sure you couldn't catch those and then just steamroll the game. Which I mean,
which is ironic,
anyways,
because Pokemon's easy anyway. It's like, are you kidding?
I mean, I'm pretty sure, because I'm someone when I usually like to explore a lot, and I went to one area of the wild area while I was just riding around it or walking around it, whatever. I don't remember. You had the bike at that point yet, and I just got clapped by like a level 30 Pokemon or something like that. I was like, all right,
yeah,
cool game. That was fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm pretty sure I tried to catch it too, and I couldn't because the cap. But yeah, I think in theory it's cool. I think it sounds like it was good for post game, even though I didn't play it. In theory, it's cool because it had all these different zones. You can catch all these different types of Pokemon, as Blue was saying in chat, instead of kind of locking you to this very limited set of Pokemon at the beginning of the game with like your bird, your bug, your your normal like Rattata type Pokemon, and in your starter basically, and like that's kind of what you have to choose from, and maybe a few others. So I think in that it was good, but I personally I wasn't enamored with it. I got to the wild area, I rode around a little bit, I got clapped by a high level Pokemon. I was like, all right, I'm moving on, whatever. I probably caught a couple of things I don't really remember, but I did not spend very much time in the wild area. I was like, all right, okay, this is here. Moving on.
So, okay. Can I want to also make sure that I know Blue and Kuru are saying stuff, but them and anybody else, if you're like, because for me, again, I'm just going to say it very simply, black and white. I think the wild area was really bad during the story, and I think it was great after the story. So that is my opinion. It is going to be a strong opinion. Am I wrong in saying it's bad during the story? Is the question.
I think you are. I thought it was great during the story. Okay. Like, I know you guys said that you guys explored the wild area and then you just went and did the rest of the game. I was one of the people that every time I beat a gym, I would go back to the wild area to see, like, what more I might could catch. Mm. So I thought it was fine. Like, it was something you could just go and like kill time in if you didn't want to just beeline through the story. But I could see, like, it's definitely much, much better in post game than it is during the actual story. Like, that's, I think, pretty unarguable. The other weird thing that the wild area kind of like pushed was that it had weather throughout it, and so depending on which day it was on the Nintendo Switch console, it would have a certain weather which would let you catch certain Pokemon. Mm-hmm. So if you started the game at different times, like if your friend started a week after you, there's a chance that they would see different Pokemon when they went in. And then also, when you get to post game, at some point, if you want to catch all the Pokemon, you basically have to just start. You have to Google online which days have which weather,
Yep.
and start changing your time and date on your console in order to catch Pokemon, which is a really bad system.
Yeah, I hate that system.
I don't know why they force people to do that in a game about collecting everything. Making people just wait months was not a good idea.
Nope.
Here's a nice.
At least they were nice. They were nice though, because I remember the way it worked was the first day of the month, the entire wild area would have the same weather. So it was really easy to switch your time and get to somewhere you wanted to go. They didn't make it like super arbitrary.
Yeah.
But it still was bad.
Okay. And I feel like I'm looking at Blue and Kuru, so I think they agree with you, Try. So you know what was great actually about the wild area? It was post game again, so sorry Spoon. I actually like the raids a lot. I thought the raids were a pretty interesting thing that they added that I came to enjoy. Of course, we're chat. Okay.
Yes.
Your chat for now.
I am thou art I.
One soul. Okay. So, any other thoughts regarding the? Are there any other Pokemon topics? I mean, okay. Well, obviously Blaziken, but any other stuff that are we going to get challenged on anything else?
I don't know. I don't think you guys had any too bad takes other than that.
Okay, Blaziken. Why is Blaziken not the worst starter? We'll say just generally.
I did not. He is not the worst starter by a long shot.
Yeah, no.
Good.
Okay.
You guys did have that good take. I forget. I don't know which gym it is, but there's one gym that all the starters are bad, and I have never heard anyone else.
All the starters are bad. It's Gen 5. It's black and white. They're all garbage.
Oh yeah, they're
really?
terrible.
Is that?
Yeah, I hate them.
Embor, Superior, and Samurott. They're all trash.
Yeah, they are all bad.
Yep.
That game is apparently really good, but
starters.
it missed the starters.
Yeah. Gen 2 competitively. Oh, competitively. He's talking competitively.
Competitively, Blaziken was good.
Gen 2 is like not great either on starters. I think like Typhlosion and Feraligatr are all right, and I hate Meganium. So,
Okay. But Blaziken. Okay, so Spoon didn't say Blaziken's the worst starter. Well, we said something really divisive. That was we didn't like Blaziken. Was I think what we said.
I think at some point one of you called Blaziken dumb and said he was like a dumb fire chicken or something. It's like
he is a fire chicken.
No. Torchic is an incredibly cute name. It is an incredibly cute Pokemon.
Okay.
I like water starters, so obviously I love Mudkip, but Torchic is a very close second. It was a very hard decision.
Torchic's cute. I'll give you that. Torchic
and
is
then
fine.
it evolves into Blaziken, which is just this incredibly bad flaming like rooster that just kicks things into oblivion. It's awesome. I don't see how you could not like Blaziken.
I don't know. I
don't get it.
I think I've used Blaziken at some point. When I played that gen in particular. I actually can't. I'm having a hard time with this. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I don't understand why he's so cool to a lot of people. Apparently, like people like we said we didn't like him, and people were like, I remember you specifically, and I think Kuru being like, "Oh, I can't believe you said that, Blaziken."
Yeah.
I'm just like curious, like how is he so cool? I'm so confused. He's a chicken. He's a fire chicken. Explain to me how the fire chicken is so much cooler than I thought. I'm really curious.
I mean, there are some opinions so bad I can't even explain them to you. It's just,
I'm sorry.
It's like having an opinion gravity doesn't exist. Like you can have that opinion and be wrong, but you know.
Wait, holy crap! I think Blue got it. He's anime. I think that's where I'm wrong here. I think the weebs are against me on this one. Okay, I'm with that. If that's okay.
Blaziken is kind of anime.
Okay,
I can see that.
I can understand that then. I concede my point then.
I still like Infernape better. I think Infernape's cooler.
I like Infernape better too. Chat's already against this. We can never please chat. This is the problem. This is actually the biggest problem.
People are mad.
This is the big problem with chat is that you can never please them when you think about it.
At least you guys aren't as bad as the rest of the Myriathon crew.
Oh,
I didn't watch it, but I know Kuru told me that he watched Otto's like rando during the Myriathon.
What happened?
And there were people in call that he said were giving so hot takes that he almost turned it off. Like, I don't even remember what they were, but they were bad.
Chat, what were the takes? Kuru, if it was Kuru, what were the takes in particular? I'm curious.
Wait, during what?
During Myriathon
whose
Home.
rando?
My
Doing
rando,
Rando?
during Myriathon Room. Called out.
Your rando.
Yeah, I called you out. I'm curious. Like you, like try the chat. Your voice has spoken for you.
Yeah, he doesn't remember.
Okay. Well,
I'm sorry.
I apologize if the takes during that really turned you off, Kuru, because you're my Pokemon rival, so I really respect your opinion on that. Even though you
Moral
cheat.
of the story.
Even though you cheat.
Moral of the story is don't badmouth Pokemon because someone will love it and someone will hate you for the rest of your life.
There's a couple series I really don't like bad mouthing. There's a couple. I think Pokemon might be one of them. I get scared whenever I call out certain series, or like I bad mouth it in like a serious way. Like the Persona thing, to be honest, I just meme about. I just joke.
Yeah. I'm
not actually thinking Persona is the worst game in existence. So okay, what are on chat? What's the other hot take we've had? Your voice of reason is gonna give us another one.
Are we just gonna go into the Breath of the Wild hot take? Because I gotta make sure
he's
we
got
got time
it.
for
So
that.
I think Try had a thesis prepared for this. I'm ready.
I didn't actually type a thesis, but I should have.
Let us first recall our because we're the defense here, really. I like to think of it as we're being attacked by chat. So okay. Basically, I think for me, Spoon, you can obviously comment on what you said. But for me, my biggest problems with Breath of the Wild when I played it, okay, I potentially am open to change on these things. Number one, I really did like the environment in general. The actually exploring the game was really cool. I love the shrines. I thought the puzzles were great. I thought the boss fights were horrendous. I thought the dungeons were okay. I won't say they're bad. I'll say they're okay.
They're bad.
I thought the character interactions, I was watching a stream of that, they're kind of awkward sometimes. You interact with each of those like pre-dungeon characters. Some it's good, but other it's awkward. But yeah, I really do think that also balancing is kind of weird in that game. Like Rivali's Gale is just like by far the best thing in that game.
Busted garbage.
I really wish it wasn't as good as it was because I just skipped the entire castle at the end. I really wish it was worse. And I really do like a lot of things about the game. It's just there were definitely I kept thinking, the music is really good in some points. Like when you're fighting in the shrines, I don't remember what they're called, but like the shrine keepers, I don't remember what they're called. Those are good. That's kind of like good catchy music. But where is it the rest of the game? I never hear the music enough. For me, I like hearing the ambiance music, like for example with Oblivion and Skyrim. I actually really like hearing the ambiance music. I don't know why, I just never heard it enough. It felt quiet and boring. With that Guardian Junior, yeah, sure, Guardian Juniors. Okay, yeah, Guardian Juniors. So, Guardian Juniors and Guardian Seniors is a different one. I remember the bigger one. Yeah. I also think it was kind of funny that you could just go try and sprint to the final dungeon. That was kind of an interesting thing. But yeah. Also, why did the weapons break so easily? I hated that. Why is it that when it rains, climbing is completely useless and you should just not do it? I don't like. I hate that. I just hated it. That's just a minor complaint, though. Anyway, Spoon, go ahead.
I mean, do you want me to talk about things I like about the game or things I don't like about the game?
I don't know, both.
I guess we can start with like, because apparently that's a short list.
I think it does do.
No, it's not a short list. I don't think it's a bad game. I don't think it's a bad game at all. I just don't think it's a great game. I think on a good day I'd give it a 7 out of 10. On a bad day I'd give it a 6 out of 10. It's not. I don't think it's a bad game. I just don't. Most people think it was like basically game of the century or game of the decade at the very least. Okay. Things I like about the game. Mostly what Otto said. They did the open world really well. The world's really pretty. It's really open. It's really vast. You can go anywhere you want. You can even sprint and try and fight the final boss right after you get off the tutorial island, basically. So I think they did open world very well in this game. The graphics are great. The music, I guess the music is good when you can hear it, but the mixing is just trash. Like you never hear it. Basically, it's super just ambient and like background, and none of the music in that game is memorable to me at all. So that means either the music was, well, it wasn't memorably bad, so it wasn't bad,
Mhm.
but it was not memorable at all, so it was just kind of there. Um, let's see. What else did I like? I think the combat mechanics in general are good, but the weapon durability system is the most frustrating thing I've ever dealt with in a video. Okay, maybe not the most frustrating thing ever, but it was very frustrating, and I hate it. Let's see. Yeah, the shrines and the puzzles generally are good with the shrines. I think it's very creative with the very limited tools that you have. The like 4 different items you have, like the magnet, the bomb. What are the other 2? The
Stasis and magnesis.
stasis and yeah. So I think they did a really good job having created creative puzzles with the kind of limited tools that you're given. And the shrines are good. Trying to think. It's been a while since I played it. It's been like probably three years. Like I didn't play it right when it came out, but not that
Pretty
long
close,
after
I
it
think.
came out. So it's been like three and a half years since I played it. But overall, I found the game more frustrating than enjoyable.
Okay, and the other thing that I think both of us had was our ratings. So I think I eased up a bit, and I said this is probably like an 8 for me. I'd have to play it again to really know if it was better than that. And then Spoon, I don't remember what you said. I think you said lower than 8. I don't remember.
Yeah, it's like a 6.5 or a 7 for
Oh
like
boy.
7
Oh
at the
boy.
very best.
Oh boy. Chat's
Um,
already upset. I can tell.
yeah.
Okay.
The other thing that annoys me about Breath of the Wild, by the way, and is is just a purely subjective thing. To me, by a long shot, Persona 5 was the best game that came out that year. And especially in like the soundtrack department, when they gave the Game Award to Breath of the Wild instead of Persona 5, I almost blew a freaking gasket because that is just wrong. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
no,
that
that's
is
bad.
wrong, 100%. Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal. If Persona 5 does not win Best Soundtrack this year, I'm gonna blow a freaking gasket again because that game has one of the best soundtracks, if not the best soundtrack in any video game
Hold on.
ever.
Hold
Like
on a
hands
second.
down.
Spoon, don't look at chat. Don't look at chat. Ignore what Blue said. Don't
You
look
can
at
look
chat.
at chat.
Don't look at chat. Ignore what Blue said. He didn't say it.
As a Zelda fanboy, Persona 5 has better music. Persona 5 is the best soundtrack I've ever heard. So yeah, like Persona 5 definitely has better music than Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild's music isn't bad, but it's not Persona 5.
Okay. So chat, you've researched your
All right.
rebuttals. You've prepared your thesis with care. You've had several days to tell us why we are Papega. Begin.
It's not as hard. I thought you guys were gonna hate way more about this game than you guys did.
Well, I mean, I didn't even talk about the things I didn't like yet, but
Oh yeah, that's
I'm
true.
sorry, Spoon. Go ahead. No. He needs to go ahead and talk about that. I need to hear this. Spoon.
okay. Point number 1, I kind of mentioned already. The weapon durability system is one of the most frustrating things I've ever dealt with in a video game.
Hate it.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I don't hate the concept of it, but the fact that you can be fighting an enemy and you break every weapon in your inventory and you just have to run away. Ooh. No, thank you.
Which I think happened to me.
Weapons break
Positively.
weapons break way too fast.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an easy fix to this. The frustration can be done so easily, fixed so easily. If you just have a weapon in your inventory that never breaks, it's like a weapon you get early on. It's probably pretty weak, but at least you have something to swing if everything else breaks. And this weapon, maybe theoretically, you could upgrade over the course of the game so it gets stronger and stronger. And maybe it turns into the Master Sword eventually. Isn't that an idea? Oh man, wouldn't that have been an idea?
They can't do that anymore. They've already done the upgrade of the Master Sword in the series. They can't do it again.
Oh, they can't do it again. They can't use the
They
same idea
could,
twice.
because they've done it multiple times. In Wind Waker it happens, and then in Skyward Sword, the Master Sword gets created.
But yeah, go ahead. I just find the weapon durability system so frustrating.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna defend the weapon durability system.
Oh, here we go.
First off,
I'm ready.
I'll concede a little bit. It is massively overtuned. The weapons break faster than they should. They definitely needed to make them last longer. That being said, I don't think it would have been a good idea to have a weapon that never breaks. At least not early in the game. Maybe like late game, the Master Sword never breaks because, I mean, in this game, technically it never breaks, but it really does because it runs out of energy and weight. But my thing is, if you give people a weapon that never breaks, there are going to be tons of people that then only use that. And then they're going to be frustrated that they can't kill anything and complain that everything has too much health. And then you can say, well, they have all these other weapons they should be using. But at the end of the day, having these weapons that break forces the player to have some variety and forces them not to rest on their laurels. It's kind of like one of those things where, like, you can have like an RPG like Persona 5 and you could just throw items at the player that are really good and then they'll just never use them because they want to save them. The same thing would happen if you give players the option to not use these breakable weapons. They would just save them forever. And I think also it's important, like, in exploring the game and in finding stuff, one of the cool things you find when you explore the game is really good weapons. And it would really take away from finding good weapons if they stuck around for too long. So I think that what they wanted like this revolving inventory of weapons where you're constantly excited about finding new ones, and then you're kind of forced to use them because things break quickly, and then you get constantly excited about finding new ones again. So I think it was overtuned, but I think it fit the style of the game they were going for very, very, very well.
Okay. I'm going to kind of deflect against this. I see what you're saying, but I don't know if that argument holds weight. And I can't believe I'm gonna cite Skyrim for doing something like this. In Skyrim, the weapons do break as well. However, they are not destroyed. You can also I think it's actually Oblivion. In Oblivion, it's different too. In Oblivion, the weapons have durability, and it is kind of frustrating, but you can repair them. And you can repair them in the field. You can use repair hammers, and there's a skill that lets you increase the amount of quality that you can repair to. It's the same idea as Breath of the Wild's breaking of weapons. In Breath of the Wild, when a weapon breaks, it's gone forever. It just disappears into the ether. Or it's deleted from a database somewhere is the other term you could say. However, with something like, for example, Oblivion, which I think, I'm not going to use Skyrim, I'm going to use Oblivion instead because I like it more. Oblivion also has breakage of weapons. However, you can repair the weapon and keep it. And the idea is also, you'll get a low quality weapon early and you'll use it. But the thing is, you always recycle and reuse different weapons, and you keep all these weapons as a different repertoire of inventory, and you're not keeping, like with Breath of the Wild, it almost feels like you're almost like picking up just about everything. I feel like a trash collector. I'm just picking stuff up, and I do know that there's a certain tier of weapon that's better, but at the same time, like if it's somewhat usable, I'll use it just because I know my stuff is gonna break. So I think that there is a way to do it where the weapons don't break quickly and don't disappear into the ether or get deleted somewhere in the database. I think there's a way you can still do a repair system because there's a ton of there's tons of stuff in Breath of the Wild. Like with, I would say there's a lot of materials. I know you can cook in the game. I love the cooking system, by the way. The cooking system's super fun. That's the one thing we didn't say. The cooking system's really fun.
I've got a comment on that.
Oh, okay. Well,
I think it's really good, but the fact that there's no tutorial for it in the game just
not good.
Frustrated me to no end. I literally didn't know it was a thing until one of my friends told me, like, "Hey, you can cook in this game," and I'm like, "Oh my god!" I was actually not enjoying the game very much at the beginning, and then one of my friends told me I could cook, and it actually enhanced my enjoyment of the game substantially. I realize it's one of those games where they just want you to explore and learn everything, but things that are essential mechanics of the game, cooking being one of them, you need a tutorial for it. I'm sorry. Just give me a tutorial. Tell me you can do it. Tell me basically how it works, and then let me figure it out from there.
Yeah, but
Because
yeah, just to finish the thing for Try, I know what you're trying to say, and I actually agree to a certain extent. But I do believe that the implementation of it could have been enhanced with a repair system. So I'm going to 50% disagree with you. I agree with your thought, though. I agree with your thought. Your thought is good.
yeah, apparently there was a tutorial, but I missed it. It wasn't explicit enough for me. I guess I'm Pepega. I don't know. I missed it.
We're old.
What it is the cold, the kind of like intended tutorial to cooking is in order to get into the cold shrine. One of the ways you get in is you can cook peppers that you find like near the kind of the general path to get to the cold shrine, and then you can find that they make like a cold resistant thing. And the tutorial for that is that in the old man's cabin, on the way to a different shrine, you can find a book that tells you that the cooking is in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But it is incredibly easy to just never look in that cabin, especially in a game like Breath of the Wild where there's so many different ways to get places.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people will just never go in that cabin, never realize it existed. And so if you don't see cooking, like a friend doesn't tell you, or you don't see it in like the promotional videos, I can definitely see like very easily that you'll never find cookings in the game.
Yep. I missed that. And speaking of the cold shrine, here's how I got to the cold shrine. I just took the damage and ate food to keep myself alive. That's how I did it, because I couldn't figure it out. I literally wandered around that island for I don't know how long, a little while, and couldn't. I'm like, I'm supposed to go there. I know I'm supposed to go there, but I don't know how to get there because I keep dying when I try to go there, and I never found cooking. So,
Rip.
When you have a tutorial island, you need to be more explicit about your tutorials. I think. I don't know. Like,
I can see that they went with like Dark Souls tutorials where like. In Dark Souls, like you could just walk past where the Estus flask is and never find it if nobody tells you.
Yeah,
it's just
you're
like
just hosed.
Here's this world, just do stuff and figure it out yourself. And they kind of went with that system because they wanted the game to feel so open. When in reality, they probably should have, like, at least on Tutorial Island, had a lot more blatant tutorials on like combat and cooking. Because like the combat tutorial is the shrine in Kek, which like I went to Kek like after I did all the divine beasts.
Oh my!
So learning,
gosh.
so the tutorial for combat's really stupid when you've been playing the game for 20 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they probably should have done the tutorial a little more blatantly, but I can see kind of why they did it, because I think they really wanted it to not be handholdy, because they were coming off of Skyward Sword when they made this game. And Skyward Sword got obliterated by Fi being super handholdy. Like, people absolutely hated Fi.
So, but why go to the other extreme? There's a middle ground somewhere.
There is. They should have went to the middle ground, but I think they got scared. They got scared, and they said, let's just go all out.
Fair. Okay, yeah. Try. Other things that you just disagree with what we said. For example, again, you know, like dungeons. I know I said the boss battles are horrible, and I agree, they're terrible. But like, and then like I know like Spoon said it too. Like, where's the music? For like the music that was there, I liked, but where was it?
I don't know what to say about the music. I thought the music was fine.
Why is Rain horrible? That's another thing. Why is Rain the worst thing in the universe?
Rain wasn't that bad for climbing if you spent all of your orbs on stamina, but Rain. What they really needed to put in gear in the game that negates the effect of rain. I don't know why they didn't do that. They had climbing gear, but it didn't make it so you stopped slipping in rain. That should have been a thing. I think I have this hunch that the rain thing was a result of them wanting to make the entrance to Zora's Domain, trying to force people along that path to get into Zora's Domain. And they wanted to make it so that you can still go on the cliffside and walk around the cliffside, but they wanted to make that harder so that players wouldn't do that. And so they had this rain system, and then it kind of carried over to the rest of the game, and it is very annoying. I think that might be like, because I read a story about Breath of the Wild where one of the reasons it took so long to develop is they had problems with the physics engine where they would change things on one side of the world and it would just screw something up on the other side.
Oh, God.
Like there's this story of one of the developers wanted to make a puzzle in a dungeon where you use wind to blow a clay pot. I can't speak.
Mhm.
Use wind to blow a clay pot. And so they did something in the Phys engine, changed the slider so that wind can blow clay pots, and went about their merry way. They put it in the build, and then a few days later, somebody was play testing the build on the other side of the map, and there's a house that was supposed to have clay pots in front of it, and they were all gone. And they found out that the wind had blown them off the house and into a ravine. And they were like, oh, we're going to have to fix that now.
Ugh.
So I hope rain was just like a side concept. They need to fix in Breath 12.
Oh, God.
Which, I mean...
keep going. I forgot about the lightning and the metal.
Yeah, no,
thing.
I was getting to that.
I forgot about that.
What? That wasn't bad. Just use wooden weapons.
No.
What do you mean it wasn't
It's
bad?
just stupid. It doesn't make sense. Lightning doesn't work that way.
It's just like, I don't even understand why that was a thing. It's like, are you wearing metal? Yeah, you're gonna get struck by lightning. Why?
I'm in a forest. I'm surrounded by trees, and I'm wearing metal. I still get struck by lightning. No, lightning doesn't work that way.
Okay, hold on. Chat's
What are
saying
you talking?
it's a cool mechanic. I disagree. Kuru, you're wrong. I disagree.
I thought it was... No, I agree with
disagree.
Kuru. I
Chat,
think it was
disagree with
really
you.
cool.
Sorry, I disagree with you. I hate it. Disagree with chat. Sorry. Okay.
Stupid,
Sorry.
annoying, frustrating. 100%.
I interrupted you, Try, before, by the way. Continue on your previous point.
What was I talking about?
I think you were
remember.
talking about
I've
how
been
we were
completely-
correct about how.
No,
the,
that is...
no. Oh, darn it.
I thought lightning was fun. The Divine Beast. So we're talking about the dungeons. Otto says
Okay,
they're
the
okay. I think Spoon
I think
says
they're
they're...
okay.
You just say they're
I think
bad, I think. Straight up.
I mean, okay, they're not bad, but in comparison to previous Zelda games and previous Zelda dungeons, they're trash.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just
And that's my
I
standard
can't
because
argue that.
it's a Zelda game, so that's my standard. That's what I'm comparing it to.
My defense. This is kind of a Pepega defense, but I'm going
Okay.
here.
Chat
I
defense.
think
Here
with
we
the
go.
Divine Beast, what they wanted
Okay.
is they wanted them to be short by design. They didn't want them to be as long as other Zelda dungeons because they didn't want to break up the flow of the game. I think
Okay.
a lot of the flow of Breath of the Wild is built on the fact that most things don't take very long. So you're kind of constantly exploring. You find something, you do something for a little bit, and then you keep exploring, right? And exploring is clearly the strongest point of Breath of the Wild. It's the best thing about the game. And so they wanted to make short dungeons, and I think they ended up making them a little bit too short. They also decided to make all the dungeons have the same basic design,
Mm-hmm.
which is unheard of in a Zelda game since Zelda 1. And a lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people really like the very thematic dungeons, and I hope when they make Breath of the Wild 2, they go back to that system. They try something new in Breath of the Wild. The dungeons, I don't think they're terrible. I remember them being worse than they were. I actually went and played Breath of the Wild this weekend with Kuru, and we got through 3 of them. They weren't as bad as I remember. They had a couple neat puzzles, but they're definitely a letdown. Like, I remember when I played Breath of the Wild, I was having a fantastic time. I got to the first Divine Beast. I beat it, and I messaged Kuru, and I'm like, hey, if you haven't gotten to the dungeons yet, don't get excited when you get to one. They're not as good as the rest of the game. They just aren't. They don't live up to the rest of the fun that you have playing through Breath of the Wild. But I think part of it was they really wanted to make them short because they didn't want to break the flow of the game. And I think they did a good job with that, but they just didn't make the short dungeons interesting. They tried to make them too similar.
Okay. Continue on with bosses now. So, again, reiterating my point, I thought the bosses were terrible. I thought there was one decent boss, and it was the one where you had to use the rods to conduct electricity, and I think attack him with them. I think it was the basic concept. All the other ones, I think I'd rather sit in a room with Orion and have him bite my feet constantly, and not in a good way. So, I don't know how Spoon feels about him.
I didn't think they were that bad. They were just kind of bland, and that was partially, I think, because it's an open world game. They don't know what you're gonna have. They kind of have to make them bland because you can go to any of them first. You can do them in any order. Your resources could possibly be limited, and it's just they kind of have to design them in a particular way so that you don't get completely walled by it. Which boss? I think it was the lightning boss.
The lightning boss.
I hate that. That boss is awful.
The tiny one?
Yeah, because whenever he hit you, you dropped all your frickin' weapons.
I mean, this just goes back to you hating like lightning in this game.
No. I remember that boss. Was that the one where they kept saying you should parry, and it was so annoying? Which was the one where they kept telling you to parry?
Yeah, you had to parry that fight.
In order to kill him, like in any way efficiently, you either had to parry or flurry strike him.
There is valor in dodging. I think it was the wording. By the way, whoever, oh my god, I heard that so much I almost pulled my hair out. There's valor in dodging. I heard it too much. I think that was actually the wording. Oh my gosh.
I think in the second phase he charges his weapons with electricity. I'm pretty sure the only ways to get through him are you have to dodge and flurry strike, or you have to wait for it to run out, wait for him to do his attack, and then you can like bash down his shield, but that takes forever. So yeah, it's another thing we're talking about with the tutorials. If you haven't gone to CAC and you do that guy first, and you don't know about flurry strike or you're not used to it, you're gonna have a very bad time, because killing that boss without using like the perfectly timed dodge, which is what flurry strikes is.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to do that, that boss is going to take forever. It just is.
So we're talking about this. Do you see where I'm coming from, though? All these little things, like none of them are a huge major issue with the game, but all of these little things with this game just piled up on me and just hampered my enjoyment of the game. I wasn't as enamored with the open world as a lot of other people were, and I just didn't have as much enjoyment with the overall thing. And these just like little minor things, these frustrations just keep piling on top of each other, and my score just goes down, 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 down. Because I just think a lot of the systems in the game, they're annoying. I just think the game is annoying, and frustrating more often than it was fun for me.
Yeah, I don't like the game is obviously it's got a lot going on. I think it's pretty complex in that it is open world. There's a lot of orders you can do things. There's stuff you can miss. My thing with it is, yes, there's a lot of small like annoyances and things, but for me and I think a lot of other people, all of the like small enjoyments and small super cool things add up and overcome the flaws in the game. Like that's why when I give Breath of the Wild a score, I give it 10 out of 10, not because it's a perfect game. It's not a perfect game, but because the things it did right, it did so well, I'm willing to overlook its flaws. Like, yeah, the not knowing Flurry Rush and getting like absolutely screwed on that Thunder guy, that's really annoying. But then there's like the super cool moments of like finding out that like somebody was saying, I didn't even know this, if you throw a metal weapon in grass during a thunderstorm, you can make a fire. And then maybe finding out that fire gives you updrafts and you can use it to fly places, something I didn't know. There's like lots of like little tiny cool things in Breath of the Wild that happen because of the way they made it. And there's like a lot of like, it's also like a fun game to like talk with your friends about playing and see how they approach things.
Yeah.
So there's this story that I found out this weekend where Kuru is an idiot. If you didn't know this.
Ouch.
Everyone in call already knew this. He's an idiot. There's a shrine on the way to CAC that is surrounded by spikes. And all you need to do to get into this shrine is use Cryonis because it's in the middle of water. Use Cryonis, you climb on top, and then you jump down into the shrine. It's not even really a puzzle. It's super easy.
Mm-hmm.
Kuru didn't know that. He couldn't figure out how to do that, so he climbed a mountain or like a tower somewhere nearby and then glided down into the shrine, which is way harder than that ever should have been. But it still worked for him. He still got to experience the shrine without getting walled. And it's just like a funny story you can tell your friends. And I think one of the beauties of Breath of the Wild is that it gives you a good amount of options on how to approach problems, which leads to people kind of like carving their own story. And I think like just the freedom it gives is just so fun that I'm willing to overlook some of the, kind of obvious design flaws and dull parts of the game.
Okay, I have a question.
I mean, that's. I'm just gonna address it.
No, go ahead.
I agree with you 100% on that. Try. I think that is one of the other things the game does exceptionally well is the way the game is designed. There are many different solutions and many different ways, some of which I'm sure the developers didn't intend at all and didn't design for it to be, that people came up with in either getting to shrines or solving some of the shrine puzzles, going through the game, etc. I think that's another thing the game does exceptionally well, is being a very unique experience for every individual person who plays the game.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question. Did
Yes.
you ever play Skyrim? I'm just guessing. Did you ever play that?
Skyrim? Yeah, I played some of it, yeah.
What do you give that as a rating?
Put me on the spot. It's been so long. I don't know, 8 or 9.
Okay.
I'll say 9.
What are the main differences of that and Breath of the Wild that like you find? Breath of the Wild just does this better. And we'll just say puzzles. I mean, Skyrim doesn't have puzzles, so let's just say that Skyrim.
Yeah, that's just like a different.
That's just a different thing. But like exploration, a player experience. Combat for Skyrim is not good, by the way. It's not good.
Yeah, combat in Breath is way better once you figure it out, at least.
Yeah.
I think the exploration is better in Zelda Breath of the Wild. I'm glad you brought this up. I don't remember if Skyrim has this problem, but it's something like with the open world genre that I saw people mentioning.
Mm-hmm.
Normally in open world games, when you find like whatever the tower is that reveals a section of the map, like this classic Assassin's Creed thing.
Sure.
When you go to the map, you see a vomit of symbols on it.
Yeah.
Of all the things in the area that you can go do now.
Yeah.
And it's kind of overwhelming. In Breath of the Wild, it literally shows you nothing. It just shows you the terrain, and you have to still like stand on the tower and you look out and see shrines.
You'll see stuff,
which is so much more satisfying than just seeing a symbol on a map and going to it.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed is.
I don't remember if Skyrim has that.
No,
I don't think it does.
It doesn't have tower. It doesn't have the map.
Yeah,
the map tower.
It doesn't do that. No, you just sort of have to. Basically, you can either take the carriage to cities or you run around. So the reason why I bring it up is because, like, for me in particular, with the combat of Breath of the Wild, I don't really remember how substantial or in depth the combat was for Breath of the Wild, but generally people are like, "Oh yeah, the combat in Breath of the Wild is just so much better than Skyrim," and I'm curious, like, what about it is so much better? I'm a little confused. And I'm ignoring bugs, by the way, as well. I'm ignoring bugs. I know Skyrim has terrible bugs. You don't have to tell me that.
If you gloss over that, I know that parrying a Guardian's attack in Breath of the Wild, where you bounce their laser back to them, is infinitely more satisfying than the entire combat experience I had in Skyrim.
Okay.
Like, that one moment, like, already the combat system's better. Like, the Breath of the Wild combat system has, like, this parry, like, dodge system that has worked well in a lot of other games. And then Skyrim just has Papega.
Yeah, but no, Skyrim, I'm not...
Heal, and then slash.
I'm not going to say Skyrim is good combat. It doesn't. But that's, like, the one thing that's always, like, been curious to me. Because, for example, with, like, exploration, people are like, oh, this is amazing. I was like, well, hold on a second. Like, and also, like, I don't know. Breath of the Wild has, like, some lore that you get to unpack, and it's kind of interesting. I don't know, like, some part of me was bored with it, and I think it's
not great.
It's not great. I was bored, and it seems like you kind of had to dig up all the good nuggets of stuff, or like you had to visually see the nuggets and interpret on your own. I don't know. Like, for me, I'm like, okay, well, besides a couple nuggets of, like, the combat being better than Skyrim and such, is like, oh, is this really like how much more substantial is it?
The environment is also so much better looking in Breath of the Wild.
It's a different art style. It's a different art style.
Much newer. It's also much newer.
Yeah, it's just a different art style too.
Yeah, and it just looks so much better. Like, it's a newer looking game, but Skyrim, the environment walking around does not look pretty. That is not one of Skyrim's like driving features to me.
I think the time that game looked pretty good.
For 2011, it looked good. It was 2011. That was like That was one of the better looking games that came out in 2011 in particular. Obviously now it's just like you can tell that the engine and everything is dated because it is.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's curious because I'm like, anytime I see people like, oh my god, it's like, and I'm just like thinking, it's like, really, is it that much better? And I do know that there's some nuggets like the combat, and obviously Skyrim's a buggy game. I just throw that out the window. Of course it is a super buggy game. But I don't know. The exploration Skyrim's interesting. There's a lot of great lore in the game that you get to unpack in some way, like in Breath of the Wild.
If you read the books.
No, not even just if you read the books. If you go explore,
the quest
and
lines are okay.
If you go explore and go to all these different areas, you get all that stuff. I mean, my point,
Oh.
my ultimate point is just like, okay, well, if Breath of the Wild is this like godly 10 out of 10 game, you know, there's a couple other open world games that do stuff more substantial, and it's confusing to me that the substantially better games in certain areas, just like it's like nope. Breath of the Wild gets the 10 out of 10 pass. And it just confuses me why this game gets like a 10 out of 10 pass. There are some games I just see it. I'm like, okay, this game, I don't understand why this game is getting a 10 out of 10. It's just like, why are you overlooking these glaring issues? Why are the bosses just ignored? It's an open world game. I don't care. Skyrim bosses are horrible. I would never overlook that. But why are these dungeons are like okay. But like, are we really just going with okay as 10 out of 10 now? That's what confuses me. Is it just seems like, well, the exploration's really good and it's Zelda and it's got the combat's pretty good. So with a couple other packed things on that, let's just forget about the lore being okay. Let's forget about these other things being okay. Let's forget about the bosses being terrible. Let's just ignore all this because 10 out of 10. That's what confuses me. I would be more than happy to accept somebody giving this a 9 out of 10 for sure. Like even 9.5 to a certain extent if you frame it a certain way. I don't get it. That's what confuses me when all this stuff comes out, all these articles and things like read it. I was like, really? Are you sure you're willing to overlook all this crap for like these 3 to 4 nuggets of really good stuff? That's what confuses me. I don't expect 10 out of 10 to be perfect, but I don't know. This doesn't feel like something that I'd be like, yeah, 10 out of 10 for sure.
To shoot back a little bit, I think calling them nuggets is kind of like an understatement, because I think what Breath of the Wild does, it's not nuggets, it's like motherloads. It's like these things are just so much more fun than they've ever been in another title like Skyrim. And chat, well, I am chat. I have dug and found some things. One of the things about Breath of the Wild is because of the climbing system. It was the first open world game where it really felt like if you saw something, you could go there. Like, period. I mean, technically you can see like stuff off the edge of the map, but it's like through a giant ravine. You would never think you could get there.
Right.
Which I remember when Breath of the Wild came out, there had been a lot of open world Skyrim clones that were saying, "Oh, you can go anywhere you want," and then the game comes out and it's a lie. You can't go anywhere you want. There's like invisible walls everywhere. Breath of the Wild, it came out, it promised that, and it lived up to it. You really can just get anywhere. You can just say, "I want to climb a mountain," and climb a mountain, which is a freedom that you kind of don't have in Skyrim. I mean, Skyrim horses are legendary for climbing things.
I was going to say, you can go almost anywhere. Yeah, you really can.
Until you run out of stamina and fall to your death. But, or it rains and then you can't climb at all. So.
The point he's making is you can go just about. Well, yeah, okay, 100% anywhere.
I'm being very.
I know you are. And the other thing is, I think when we frame Zelda versus Skyrim, you said to like leave out the shrines. I think that's unfair, because one of the things about like an exploration game is when you explore and you find something, you want it to be valuable. And the shrines, for the most part, I mean, we haven't talked about it. There's some bad shrines. The shrines, for the most part, when you find one, you're really happy to find it. Whereas in Skyrim, you explore and you find like a cave of bandits, and it's cool, kind of, but it's not the level of a shrine in Breath of the Wild.
So this is the problem. This is actually another fundamental issue. Is you've explored Breath of the Wild probably quite a bit, but you're I hate to be this guy because it's going to make me sound like a jerk, but it's just like I think you're seeing you're just seeing the forest for the trees. You're just like you see one bandit cave. It's like, yeah, that's Skyrim. That's like if I said, yeah, I saw one bad Breath of the Wild shrine. That's Breath of the Wild. These shrines are
Okay,
they're
that's
just
fair.
pathetic. So let's be clear. Let's just be
In
fair.
my defense, it's because I don't know
And
Skyrim
I
well.
do know 100% that the shrines are just better to find, and because it's like, oh, I found a shrine, there's probably some intriguing puzzle and something out of it. Skyrim, it's just different. When you go into a Skyrim cave, you're probably gonna find that garbage bandit group, but you also do get those interesting. And when I use nuggets, I'm not trying to sound like I'm simplifying it and make it seem small. I just use the term.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just like,
I
I do think there are substantial elements to it. So
want to address real quick what Blue is saying in chat is that you could remove the shrines and many could still enjoy it. I mean, I guess that's true, but man, if you took the shrines out of that game, that would be like a 4 or 5 out of 10 for me, because that was the best. The shrines are the best part of the game for me, and if you took those out, holy moly!
but I mean, like,
Wow.
people.
Can
could,
I get
but
a
people
disclaimer?
Could, no, go ahead, try.
Blue Infinity 22 does not represent the views of the rest of the
Okay, he's
chat.
not the chat. Blue doesn't represent chat.
That's-
Sorry about that.
Blue, I'm sorry, Blue. That's
But
pushing it too
to be
far.
fair,
If you took
like,
the game's bad.
I think to be fair to that point from Blue, though, it's just like, yeah, I mean, look, if you, there are some people that do just want to run around, even in Breath of the Wild's like landscape, and they would enjoy it, and I think that's fine. I've already said before, and I think Spoon to some degree would be in agreement. Like, the environment is really, there is a strong environment here, but my biggest problem is all this exploration. I like, you explore these areas, but like, one of the payoffs of the game, and this is where Skyrim falls off hard, is like the payoff of the game is to get to Alduin, and it's terrible. It's like the worst payoff in existence. I get to the end of Breath of the Wild, and my payoff is terrible. I had the worst payoff experience of my life. An open world game will inevitably have certain quest points and a conclusion. The conclusion of this game was so bad, it was unbelievably frustrating. So this is my issue, is like, there has to be this endpoint. And like the shrines and all that, I think it's awesome. I really do think the shrines are great. I loved the shrines. I also like talking to like Spoon, for example, about shrines that he got and I couldn't get, and ones that I got, which were probably a smaller number because I've got a tiny brain when you think about it, than he did. But like, this is my issue, is the payoff was a boss that, you know, you skip ahead to, let's be honest, I'm sure there are plenty of people that did what I did. You skip ahead, you get to the boss, you've got some big stuff you're carrying. You beat him without too much of a sweat. You get to the pig. You're wondering what I'm doing here. And then you get to the end. You're like, okay, that was a game. Thank you. Goodbye. And you move on. It was a payoff that felt like it felt almost like a Skyrim payoff. And it was horrible. Alduin was so bad. Skyrim, like, I never want to get to the end of Skyrim ever again.
The final boss in Breath of the final boss in Breath of the Wild sucks. Like, all the bosses suck, including the final boss. It just,
the second phase of the final boss is particularly like.
You mean the one where you're riding? You mean the pig phase where you're riding in the horse?
You just
I
ride
didn't
around
get that.
shooting
I didn't
arrows at
get
it.
that. I remember streaming this game and hating it. I'm like, what is this?
That's on it.
So,
I don't know. I think in an open world game, the journey is much more important than the conclusion.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And
sure.
so, and I mean, like, the conclusion, like Hyrule Castle, I know Otto just revolved.
I just skipped it. I have no
Which
idea.
is really unfortunate, because if we're talking about dungeons, Hyrule Castle, I've seen people argue, is actually kind of a good dungeon. Like, the way it's laid out, it's actually really well made if you go through it. Though I feel like a lot of people probably did just climb up the side.
All I remember of Hyrule's Castle, I think I did Rivali's Gale up the side. All I remember was being frustrated because I kept dying because I kept getting shot by 1,000 lasers off screen, and just, all right, thanks.
Well, yeah, if you go up the side, there's like a ton of guardians.
Yeah,
on
you
the
kind of
outside.
have to avoid them somehow, but still, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, this game has flaws. I'll give in. I'll say that a 9 might be a fair rating for this game. I just give it a 10 because
it's a 10. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Because you legitimately enjoyed it that much. You think it's you think, even though it has flaws, and I think everyone will admit that it has some flaws.
Within reason.
You enjoyed the game enough to give it a 10, and I think that's fair.
I think that's fine.
Yeah.
That's your opinion, and it can be wrong, and that's okay. So,
And as I've said,
and I could be wrong.
my opinion is that this game was more frustrating than entertaining on many occasions, and I just found myself not wanting to play it a lot of the time because it was very frustrating, thus dropping my rating to like a 6 or a 7. 7. I just found a lot of the mechanics in the game, like the lack of tutorials on some things, the weapon durability system, the rain, like the weather effects, I just found obnoxious.
Right.
The like the Goron Mountain, where you always had to have like fire resist, just taking damage all the time from. Yeah, you needed fire resist food. You just had to buff up with fire resist, and I get it. And I know there was a time limit, and you can do it, but again, there's just all these things in the game that I just found so annoying. And yeah, I mean, that's just kind of where I'm at with the game. And I think this game also could have served to have a little bit. We talked about tutorials, but there should have been a couple of shrines or areas. There should have been a little more to the tutorial after you got off Tutorial Island, where they railroad you a little bit more. Maybe they let you explore like a little bit outside. But you were saying, you could go to one of the hard combat shrines first and be like, what the heck is going on? And just get completely bodied.
Yeah.
I think there needed to be some case where they just railroad you. I know it's an open world games and they don't want to railroad you, but there's some cases where just get me the basics, get me the tutorials on the combat, and I don't know what other things that you miss. I don't remember the game that well, but I think the game could have had some better tutorials in it as well. So
okay.
Yeah, I think what they should have done is they should have put the combat tutorial in the Shrine of Resurrection, which is where Link wakes up, or something like that. Like, I don't think they should have done it off Tutorial Island. I think they should have put it on Tutorial Island. Like Blue is saying in chat, like, technically the game kind of points you to go to CAC first.
Yeah, it does. It's like, hey, this is Kakariko Village, this is your next main objective, but
you don't have to do it. And then if you don't do it, you don't get the combat tutorial.
And it's kind of far. It's kind of far from Tutorial Island, from what I remember. It's not that close.
It's like quarter of the map away or something.
There's a lot of stuff you could get distracted with doing before going there. That's for sure.
For sure.
Any other things, Try, that you wanted to defend Breath of the Wild with? But I don't know. My opinion will I don't know. My opinion is I want to play this again and see if I'm just completely off base here. That's my problem.
I'm gonna be honest. I've been defending Breath of the Wild, but there's some flaws in Breath of the Wild that you guys haven't pointed out that I think I should point out as well. Go ahead. Because let's be honest, to this game, it has problems. Amiibos in this game. What was Nintendo thinking?
What's it? What?
So
Amiibo, what?
I never used it, so I mean.
What?
So here's the thing with the Amiibos. Epona, Link's horse, is like famous in the Zelda series.
Okay.
The only way, to my knowledge, to get Epona in the game is to have a Link Amiibo. If you don't have a Link Amiibo, you can get horses like Epona, but you can't get actual Epona, which is just whatever. The real bad thing is the Wolf Link Amiibo. So if you use the Wolf Link Amiibo, you summon Wolf Link, which is from Twilight Princess, and he fights by your side during combat for some amount of time. I don't know how long.
Okay.
There is no other way to get a companion to fight for you in Breath of the Wild. That system is literally
amiibo. Okay.
Literally only in there for that one amiibo.
Okay.
Which is just like
pay to win. Pay to win. Pay to win. We found it.
They put bears and elk and wolves in the game. Why can't you let me tame them? No, it has to be the Wolf Link amiibo.
And this is why Assassin's Creed Odyssey is the superior game. Think about it. Can you recruit a bear on your team in Breath of the Wild? No, you can't.
You can ride it. You can ride a bear.
Okay, you know what? Maybe I retract my statement. I was going to say, but you can recruit a companion in in Odyssey. Actually, no, I forgot about the chickens. Never mind. Odyssey is terrible. I hate chickens. That's why I don't like Blaziken. That's actually why I don't like Blaziken. I think Assassin's Creed Odyssey has tainted me against chickens because they've almost killed me several times in that game.
Yeah.
But I didn't even know the amiibos existed. I'm glad I didn't.
And like Blue's saying, it was a nightmare when this game came out for speedrunning because other than the amiibo for Epona, which was actually incredibly useful in the run at the start, it is not useful now. With some of the amiibos will give you a chest, which is really important because a lot of the speedrun, at least used to, I'm not used to, I don't know about it now, involved stasis launching off chests, where basically you would stasis a chest, you would hit it and make it hit Link, and then he would fly off into the distance, and it was really fast to get around. But you could only do that if you had an item to stasis launch off of. And one of the only ways to, actually the only way to get an item anywhere in the game was to use an amiibo. So the speedrun was pay to win when it came out, and people were not happy.
That's awesome. I love that stuff. I love hearing that stuff.
Yeah. I know the Myriacast, you guys just love hearing about microtransactions.
Yeah, and especially pay to win microtransaction. We love that.
I love them.
That's our favorite.
Speaking of pay to win transactions, next time we're gonna do a 100 summoning poll in our mobile trash game. That's what we're.
Otto, if you spend money on that game, I'm never letting you.
I will never have an opinion on mobile trash again if I spend money on that. I will just stop. I'm trying to think. Other. We have like a little bit of time left. If we have
were there any other things that we didn't point out that about Breath of the Wild that were flaws that we missed?
Let me.
Also, I want to talk about Breath of the Wild 2 stuff that I want. More amiibos. More amiibos.
Please.
Another amiibo.
More tutorials.
Yeah, more tutorials.
More tutorials. Explain the mechanics of your game to me, please, before I play it. I would like that.
Nope.
Or at the beginning while I'm playing it. Better main dungeons. Like more standard main dungeons.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you actually get something from them. Like, I know they want it to be open world and you can go anywhere, but here's my other thing about Breath of the Wild that just kind of, and this is very subjective, it didn't feel like a Zelda game to me. Because it wasn't an epic, like, adventure. Well, it was an epic adventure, but I guess it was just the dungeons and the lack of progression in terms of like the items you get and I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a different take on the series. It's like, and I think, like, to say this, like, I don't know how many Zelda games you've played, but I think there was a consensus after Skyward Sword came out. Not a consensus, but there was a lot of people that kind of started talking about how the Zelda formula had really kind of gotten stale. Like, Skyward Sword was not a very well-received game.
See, I actually like Skyward Sword a lot.
I do too. It's one of my favorite Zeldas.
Yeah.
But, like, for a Zelda game, it did not get the reception that it kind of needed. And so I think when they made Breath of the Wild, partially because Skyward Sword came out, kind of flopped, and then Skyrim came out and sold like hotcakes, they pushed for this open world, which is a lot closer to Zelda 1. Like, Breath of the Wild is the closest game to Zelda 1 that's on a console, I think, in, like, at least forever. I mean, maybe Zelda 2, but I don't think so. And I thought it was, like, super cool that they were willing to take a risk and push the series in a new direction. I think it still feels like a Zelda game to me, with the shrines and with the world. Like, I know you guys also agree that the environment's great, and, like, Hyrule feels like what Hyrule should be. The races feel like what they should feel like. Like, the Zora look great in this game. Gorons look like Gorons. The Ritos are cool in this game. So,
yeah, I remember thinking that this doesn't feel like a Zelda game when I played it, but I think it was just mostly my salt. I'm not sure I agree with that take anymore. I think it's not good. I think the next game needs better main dungeons. Like, I love the thematic dungeons and bosses of the old Zelda games. The divine beasts were some of the puzzles were unique with like rotating it. I thought that was kind of cool, but other than that, like the bosses were very disappointing, and they weren't very thematic.
Yeah, it's like if you smashed all the divine beasts together, kind of like in some weird way, and like called it a dungeon, it would be probably a pretty good Zelda dungeon. I think part of it was like they were just like, let's just reuse the mechanic in all 4 of our dungeons, and yeah, it definitely hurts the game. I really hope Breath of the Wild 2 goes back to kind of a more thematic dungeon like old Zelda games. And if nothing else, I hope like the dungeon items come back. Like I think that like maybe they should just do something where when you go into a dungeon, maybe you get an item and you can only use it in that dungeon, so that they can still have all this open world stuff, but still have items in dungeons and that they can make cool puzzles on.
I actually agree with what Blue was, or not Blue, sorry, what Ghost is saying in chat. Yeah, I would prefer the story to happen while you're playing the game instead of the entire story is just learning what happened to Hyrule and like why it is the way it is and who these characters are and where they came from that you meet. And some of the stories with the individual characters in the the Zoras and the Goron, the 4 different sections of the map with the divine beasts, I think are interesting, and learning the history was interesting, but nothing happens during the game.
Yeah, no. Yeah, the story in Breath of the Wild is the main story in Breath of the Wild is it's just bad.
Yeah.
The like side story, there's like side stories and side quests that have like really cool lines, but like the main story and like the memories, like the only good thing about the memories is the memes about Zelda's butt, and that's it.
I knew I was not gonna mention it on purpose, and I just some part of me knew at least you or someone in chat was gonna be like, but Zelda's butt memes. Like, okay. I just
they were
knew
funny.
it.
They didn't save it.
11 minutes left, we did it. Yeah, you did it. I just knew this would happen. I knew it. I freaking knew it. I was thinking the whole time, should I mention it just to get it out of the way? But nope.
No, you waited. That did remind me though. Another bad thing about Breath of the Wild, the voice acting in Breath of the Wild, at least the English. I don't know about Japanese. The English voice acting is terrible.
Oh, it's not for. I've seen it. It's not. Yeah,
I
saw
mean,
it's not very good.
At least there is voice acting, which is not a standard for Nintendo.
It's like they haven't put voice acting in a Zelda game. They decide, okay, we'll do it in this one. And I guess they didn't know what they were doing. Like, I don't know. Like,
what do we do?
Like if like you haven't played Breath of the Wild again, so you're not used to everything going on, and you're not like enamored with the game, and then you go look at the cutscene of the Goron kid that you had to save. His voice acting is so bad. It's so bad. It's like, guys, I know you wanted to make this the first Zelda game with voice acting. You just shouldn't have. And it would have fine. You kind of wasted your money.
Yeah. Let me say this real quick to Nintendo. It's 2020. It's time to put good voice acting in your games in general, and good voice acting for like the majority of the dialogue in your game, like just about every other AAA game on the market does these days. Pokemon, in Sword and Shield, the opening cutscene when the guy's like doing this presentation and there's like arena and it's just text bulb text.
Oh yeah, that was horrible. I remember it's like
Dan's game.
Yeah, no, that was absolutely.
You stayed.
I got nothing.
Nintendo, please. It's 2020. It's time to put voice acting in your video games.
God, I forgot.
End of sentence. That. End of story. That's it.
Yeah,
like
the only caveat where I don't agree with that is just one small thing. Please, to God, never give Link a voice actor. I never want Link to ever open his mouth.
Link is
going to ruin the entire series.
I want it to be a silly voice. I want him to have voice acting, and I want a silly voice.
Hey guys, my name is Link.
You just hear like Kermit's freaking voice. Hey guys, I'm Link. It's like, really? I would love it. I'd be like, okay, I'm
No,
in.
I
I'm in.
agree. I think memes aside, like Link works well as a silent protagonist, and that's fine.
Maybe even Mario. I don't know. Mario, I'm not as strongly about, but yeah, they should put Pokemon Sword and Shield. Now you bring that up, I remember. I did that should have been voice acted. Like it was so anticlimactic that it was just text bubbles.
Yeah, they're trying to like build up this like world and this Pokemon challenge thing that's happening, and it's this guy is doing all this thing, and the crowd's cheering, and it's text bubble. Like you couldn't at least voice that one cutscene, the opening cutscene for the game. Come on.
Like just pay they should have just paid like Reggie to do it. Like they probably could have like found some downtime for Reggie and just told Reggie to do it, right? Like he did. If Reggie did it, it wouldn't even have to be good, and everyone in America would have just bought
Reggie.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
My body is Reggie.
All right. We are almost
out of time.
Yeah. We didn't even talk about silent protagonists. We had that as a potential one. The other one I'm going to mention, I got 5 minutes. I need to fire this off immediately. So before the episode, we had our call, and Tri said that he doesn't think NBA 2K21 is that bad. I'm ready for my 5-minute rant on NBA 2K21, even though Tri has rescinded his statement. Put your hand down. I've got this. I've got this. Tri has rescinded the statement, but put your hand down. So NBA 2K1 is one of the top 3 worst games on the market for microtransactions, or if you have a wallet and desire to have cash in your bank account. Why, you may ask? Well, let me answer that for you. The loot boxes, or the card packs, are not that expensive. It's about like $1.50 per pack. But guess what? Every 2 weeks, they'll recycle themed packs like a gacha game would. It's a $60 game, by the way, so you're getting gacha game mechanics into your $60 video game. On top of that, these card packs, they don't come back. So that means if you miss the card pack period for whatever reason, or can't buy the packs because they cost, a decent chunk of money, then guess what? You're out of luck. That means you're going to have to go into the marketplace to go purchase the player that you want to get into your collection. Oh, by the way, let's talk about the auction or the collection area. Did you know that if you sell a player on that place for 100,000 of the My Team points, which is one of the currencies, you don't get 100,000 back? No. 2K Games takes 10 to 15% of whatever you sell for on their fake currency onto their game. Isn't that awesome? I think it is. So
they get nothing out of it. You just lose 10% because of reasons.
Nope, you just lose 10% because reasons. That's how their marketplace works, and it's awesome. I think it's awesome. Also, they have all these different like pachinko, slot machine games. I don't care if it doesn't cost real money in it. You're basically telling kids, "See this casino? Yeah, see that? Looks
That's
fun.
fun.
Huh? Looks fun." What else is in this game that I think is oppressive? Oh, the My Team system, by the way, you literally have to pay to compete. So it's pay to win. It's 100% pay to win. You can't tell me the otherwise. We didn't even get to the park. Have you seen the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup colors? They're orange and yellow. Have you ever wanted to see those colors on a basketball court? I did. And I saw it, and I think I almost had a seizure. It was horrible. They put ads all over this park, and they'll put the ads on the courts. So you have to like sit there, look at this disgusting throw-up court, and know that they sold their soul to the devil to get their extra $5 for that ad. Oh, wait, hold on a second. How do you improve your player, you ask? Great question, Timmy. First of all, no, they're not fixing the bugs in their code that won't let the coach pick up the basketball, because that would cost money and development time. Instead, they're going to put all their money into saying, you know what, did you want to get your character from rank, I think you start at like 60 overall to 80? You got 100. Do you have hundreds of hours a week? No, there's not hundreds of hours in a week. Too bad. Give me some money. So it is an incredible experience to play NBA 2K20 because you will not have a bank account afterwards. And it is the most disgusting game that I've ever witnessed. It's got ads. It's got ads like crazy. It's got ads on apparel that you purchase in the game. It's got advertising in the My Team. Did you know at one point they put advertising in the loading screens? They put literal movie advertisements in the loading screens. You didn't know that. Now you do. They like completely made all the game modes pay to win, much like all the other sports games have. There's casino games into their game modes, and it's got gacha game mechanics inside of its My Team mode. And they'll take all the stuff. They'll take some of the currency that you sell cards for, which by the way you bought. So you bought a card pack from them, and then they basically impose a screw you tax on your sales. There. That's it. That's my rant. I almost completely went off. I gave Try a small piece before.
I was very because I didn't realize it was that bad. So I was just like, I don't think it's that bad. And then he gave a very similar monologue to what he just gave me. And then I was like, yeah, I completely rescind my statement. That sounds like the worst game ever made.
Yeah.
And it's $70 on the next gen console.
Next gen console. Oh God, we already talked about this. It's horrible. It's horrible. What an awesome system. What an awesome way to get people to get into the next console generation. Did you want to get this game in the next console? Yeah, you're gonna buy it again. Why?
When you need like a 10-page research paper to understand how to buy a video game, we have a problem.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Breath of the Wild 2 has a card pack system, a card pack casino. I think it should have loot boxes. Why not? Let's get a loot box in there. Why not?
Yeah, man.
Dude,
maybe
loot box amiibos. Like instead of like knowing which amiibo you buy, just get like one of those mystery boxes and it's an amiibo. I'm sure people will love that.
I love that. I think it's a great idea. Okay. Anything else after my rant of 2K?
I'm sad we didn't have time to talk about anything else, but I guess Breath of the Wild was we had enough.
Chat,
we had enough to talk about with that.
Yeah, chat definitely had a strong response to Breath of the Wild today, and I do appreciate chat defending it. I think there are games that I have plenty of those, by the way, that people hate on and I love. So I'm very much supportive for the people that really do like it. But just I'm not a huge fan, as big a fan as other people.
Yeah.
So thanks, thank you, Try, for coming on and defending with chat. You are the true voice of reason amongst them. They should be thanking you. They should be thanking you.
Yeah, I just clarify. When we talk about chat, we're including everyone except Blue.
Except Blue, of course.
He has been voted out and banned from being part of chat.
He's not part of the chat. He's been ostracized from chat. It's just bow and never mind. But everybody else, Ghost Crew, obviously, anybody else who came in here, and is here, hanging out, take a bow and thank your Lord and Savior Tricourage for defending your game.
He'll tell us the next time we have a bad take, which will probably be next week.
Always, and I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have bad takes every week.
Okay, see, this is what happens though. See, we were having a nice, cordial conversation, and he comes in with that to end it. So,
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Whatever. So, thanks everybody for watching. Thank you, Try, for supporting and being the voice of the chat. If you'd like to follow our next stuff that's happening, obviously this podcast will be same time next week, as I'm sure all of you know. But Thursday I will be doing in particular, I should say, a game session. We'll more than likely be playing Tales of Crestoria. Not sure if there's going to be another option as of right now to play. And then for the Sony event, for the PS4 Sony event, we will be doing more than likely either a VOD restream of that, or we will be doing the sort of roundup next Monday for part of our topic. And finally, please support all of our social channels. Please support our personal ones. I'm Automaton89. That Spoons is SPT Spoon on Twitter. Tricourage sometimes uses Twitter.
No,
he doesn't. Okay, that's fine. Be sure to also check out some of the stuff we put on YouTube. All of those play sessions that I'll be doing on Thursdays with Spoon, if he's available for them week to week. We're putting them on YouTube as well, just in case. And all these podcasts go on YouTube, so please be sure to support those as well and spread the word. So that'll do it for our little conclusion. Anything else before we say goodbye, Spoon and Try? Nope, I'm getting a nod from Spoon. Nope. Okay, Try said bye, so that's it. We're done, I guess. I'll see you everybody Thursday if you're joining for that game session. Otherwise, we will see you all next Monday. Thanks, everybody.
Have a good night.